In yesterday's YouTube video, I said that today we would likely be piloting a Yasuo list, and it turns out I'm a liar. I'm sorry about that, gang. I haven't found a version of that list that I am comfortable with yet. While I don't think it's ever going to be an amazing list, I just want something that isn't completely terrible. And in the interim, I was brewing Zilean a lot last night on stream, and I found one list that I absolutely fell in love with. This is a mono Zilean list, and so we're going to be sharing it. What I'm going to do is go through the list, and then after that, I'm going to share 2 games from last night's stream. So usual caveats apply. You might hear me talking to chat without context. I apologize for that, but that's just the nature of the beast when I'm streaming, and I don't plan on putting those up on YouTube, but the games were great, and so I want to share them. Also, I think that the versions that are in the games from last night might not 100% match this list. This is the version that I settled on at the end of yesterday, and so I think this is the best version, at least so far, of this version of Zilean. So with that in mind, I'm going to go through the list and kind of talk about our game plan. Right out of the gate, we have Ancient Preparations. This is a cheap predict activator. The countdown into a clockling is just kind of nice to have. The reality is this is a list that wants a lot of predict because you're always trying to manipulate your draw. Early on, you want to find Zilean and you want to find Monastery of Harana. I'll get to that in a little bit. But once you found a monastery, you don't want to draw more. You really only ever want 1 active. 2 is okay, but we're running 3 to increase our chances of finding it. And then we're going to be using predict to just manipulate our draws so that we don't find the others. And with that in mind, predict is on Ancient Preparations, and so we're running it. It's a cheap card. That's an even bigger bonus. Another thing to note is that when you do get your Zilean up and running, you're usually trying to chain time bombs together, and one of the best ways to do that is before you play one time bomb, you can play a predict activator to make it so that when you play the time bomb and you draw your card, you draw into another time bomb. And so you can kind of lace time bomb plays in with predict plays and keep the chain rolling. So Preparations fits into the list for that. Dancing Droplet. We are running this because it is a nice early chip damage activator in terms of it's got elusive. It's got attune, which is also nice, but it's a really big deal with the elusive because there's a lot of things that you need to chump block right now, but it's even an even bigger deal because this is great with Monastery. There are like 4 cards in this list that you're going to want to be frequently bouncing back, and Droplet can be one of them simply because you draw a card and it helps you dig deeper. Now later on, Droplet is not what you want to be bouncing. It's actually Zilean, but early on, this can be a great activator for some of these other effects. Scrying Sands is here because it's got predict and it's cheap and it's defensive. Aspiring Chronomancer is here because it's cheap, it's got predict, and it's a body that we can block with. Eyes of the Dragon. So this is here. This is interesting. We don't actually run a large number of main deck spells. There's only 11. However, because of the recurring spell we get from Monastery, this ends up being easier to activate than you think. And also, any source of lifesteal that you can get early on is kind of a boon. We don't have a lot of natural ways to gain life. It's basically this and then Fey Folk later in the list. And we need to gain life because we do not win fast with this list. I should also say that up front. This is a list where when it works, it is very satisfying to pilot, but you go the distance. You do not kill your opponent quickly. This is death by 1,000 time bombs. So Eye of the Dragon is here to help keep you stable. It's also nice because certain decks, if you play an early Eye, will invest in killing that as opposed to maybe killing your Zilean or something else that we value a bit higher. And so it's great in that regard as well. 2 copies of Conspirator. So this is one of our recall triggers. This is, again, great with Dancing Droplet. This is also great with Zilean. It's got elusive. So again, helps with chip damage, helps with blocking other elusive units. I don't like to run 3 because early on, you don't have a lot of targets to bounce. And many times you'll hold this like waiting for a Zilean because the entire point of this deck is to play Zilean over and over and over, and you have to play him. His plant time bomb effect is a play effect. It is not a summon effect. So you can't do like ancient hourglass tricks. You can't retreat, return Zilean. You can't do anything like that. You have to recall him and then replay him. And there's also some timing things that you have to consider, where early on you kind of want to play him like 3 or 4 times, and then you want to play him once long enough to stick to time bombs so that he levels. And then once you've leveled him, the thing that I think is lost on some folks is that he still creates more time bombs even in the leveled version. So you can continue to bounce him after the fact, and you can also take advantage of the round start copying cards thing. And because of the timing of when you bounce him and when you play him and have him stick for the round, you can also manipulate which cards you're getting back next turn. So there's a lot of nuance to piloting this, but I think that's why I find it so satisfying, because it is ridiculous. All right, moving on. 3 copies of Preservarium. This is really just for the early game. Late game, you're not going to have many problems with drawing cards, but this is early game, filling your hand full of resources. This is also a landmark to help you with size scout triggers. Not much else to really say. Zilean, the only champion and the entire point of the list. We are trying to play Zilean over and over and over again to continue chaining time bombs. Monastery. Monastery is here to help with the Zilean game plan, but it's also great for bouncing droplet. In a pinch, you can bounce your predict activators if you really need another predict. So again, something like Aspiring Chronomancer can be a great target for Monastery. Similarly, if you play Psy Scout and you whiff later on, you can use Monastery to bounce this if you need another good elusive unit, and so on and so forth. So Monastery, once you get it down, is fantastic in this list. You don't traditionally want more than one. In rare cases, you might play a second, but you really don't want all 3. And so that's why we also run so many predict cards, so that we're always manipulating our draw. And we very rarely, once we get our combo online, are drawing a bunch of cards that we just don't know what they're going to be ahead of time. So Monastery is here in a 3 of, because we want to find at least one early. Psy Scout. This helps us hunt for Monastery while giving us a bonus. We can also maybe grab Preservarium or even Ancient Preparations to have Psy Scout become elusive. But it is also worth noting that if you're playing Psy Scout and if you don't have, say, like a Zilean yet, and your choices are between Zilean and Preservarium, even though this could get elusive, you still pick the Zilean, right? This is the sort of thing that, again, you can bounce back with a number of effects and give it elusive later. So don't feel like just because you see a landmark, you have to pick the landmark. This is actually a pretty versatile card in this list. All right, Tasty Feyfolk. This was something that was not in the early iterations, but with a healthy amount of aggro running around on the ladder, you need a way to stall. And so Tasty Feyfolk ended up being one of the better ways to do so. This is mostly for the burn matchup, if I'm being honest. Between this and Eye of the Dragon, you're just trying to keep your health total high enough that you can't be burned to death. Against other decks, you'll eventually hit a point where you can stall, usually with the resources on board, and continue planting time bombs until you just blow up their board. So that's what Feyfolk is for here. Concussive Palm. This is a 3 of because of Monastery, and this is your primary stall tool, and it's potentially your most important tool against mid-range lists. The ability to, every round, stop an attacker, and then you can just return it back to your hand with Monastery so that you have another Palm again, is massive. Palm is huge in this list, and it is basically your primary source of life gain. So again, we're running Feyfolk and we're running Eye of the Dragon for when they burn us. But when it comes to folks attacking you outright, Palm is your best way to just stop the big attackers. 2 copies of Deny, just to try to keep things under control. You never know what your opponent's going to play. They might try to nuke your Zilean, blow up a Monastery, do something silly. Only running 2 copies because traditionally you find one through Predict and you just kind of sit on it. And then the other card that we are running is Homecoming. Homecoming is, again, great way to bounce your predicts, your droplets, your Zileans back to your hand, so you get the benefit in that regard, while also being defensive, recalling enemy units or landmarks, or you can save your own at times as well. We don't have a lot of traditional hard removal. There's no Vengeance, there's no Ruination, there's nothing like that in this list. As I was saying before, time bombs are your primary game plan and everything else is just stalling and manipulating draws until you can pull it off. And so Homecoming is, along with Palm, kind of your answers to the mid-range decks so that you can continue to slow them down, keep planting bombs, and slowly but surely nuke their board. Now, you will find out in some of these videos and some of these games that there are answers to our game plan that are kind of funny, kind of cheeky. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but you can still win even when they do silly things. So anyway, that's the list. As I said before, deck code in the video description, link to Mobalytics in the video description. I don't want to spoil anything, but I had a lot of fun piloting this last night. I don't think that this is ultimately going to be a truly competitive like ladder list, but this is really fun to pilot, and it's good enough that I still had a positive win rate after I'd played a number of games with it. So in that regard, I'm a big fan, and let's jump into the games. Basically, it's about playing the same cards over and over and over again because you're looping them with Monastery, hence the time loop. So with that being said, let's go lose a bunch of games trying to make it work for like one amazing highlight reel game. And right out of the gate, we get Karma Zilean. I had thought about including Karma in this list, but Karma felt a little bit weird because at the end of the day, we're like trying to... This is interesting. I think we actually want to get rid of all of this. We don't really want to play a ton of spells. No, we still have the Sands. I was kind of hoping for early Dancing Droplet, Zilean, or Monastery, but I guess this works. Because I didn't know what else to put in for a champion here, but like nothing really fit the bill. Even if I was running, say, like Yasuo, because we do have a lot of recall, it ends up really only applying to the Palm and the Homecoming as far as his effect. I don't know, maybe Yasuo could fit. I have to go figure out for what, but it would give us a bit of a control element. Boo. None of those are a Zilean. Guess we'll take the Monastery. I like to find one early just to get it down and out of the way. Oh, I'm so envious. Also, Zilean is, I think in the traditional sense, a bit difficult to level up, but once he levels up, that card is insane. All right, there's our droplet. I think this round we probably still want to develop Monastery so that we have it next round. Yeah, I was gonna say, unless you have actual time bombs in your hand, it's interesting because Zilean's one of the few champs that the more, like, if you kill him and you play more, it becomes easier to level him up, so. Oh, they used return on him, huh? They made the same mistake I almost made during deck building. I was like, oh man, retreat return is so good with... Oh wait, no, it's not. It's awful. It's actually legitimately awful. Let's do this. Which out of these would we potentially want to draw here? Let's go with the researchers. for now, since we still haven't found a Zilean. All right, so now we get to do some kind of neat stuff. Hey, Lift. I appreciate that. We get to do some kind of neat stuff with the tune, because we can do that. We can do this, which will let us draw the card that we were just looking for. And we could play this, but Eye of the Dragon should be now triggering, and that will attune. And then if we play this, we get to keep full spell mana still anyway. And so now the monastery fun kind of starts to begin. Do we want to try to get more elusive damage in now, or buff stuff is the next question. I think it's elusive damage. Let's take a look. And we're gonna whiff on that, huh? Let's just skip.
Oh, but let me have a look here.
Turns out the correct choice was researchers, but I wanted this extra predict because we're actually still hunting for a Zilean. We've already got the monastery, so if we can find a Zilean, our game plan starts to really fire off. Interesting. We have Homecoming, but then they get to replay this anyway. You know, this is actually kind of neat for finding your Zileans. We might need to consider that as a potential tech choice as well. We have the deny, but I think you just let this go. I think you just let this go and you send everything.
The dragon binds us.
You're kind of expecting this trade, but to be honest, we were looking to make some board space. Yeah, the right, you know, that's kind of interesting. The right to continue cycling and finding additional Zileans is kind of neat. Let's do this to draw a card, because we're still hunting for our own Zilean. All right, so this time they're probably going to replay the Zilean. It's funny because they're basically on the exact same game plan we are. The downside, though, is that naturally they found their Zilean first, and we hard mulliganed for it. We've been playing all these predicts, all these cards that we've drawn. Still no Zilean, but I have faith. Oh, they found their first time bomb. All right. It means we have to be careful with our droplet, because that's part of our engine at the moment. We would really like to predict before we play this Preservarium, so let's go ahead and do this first. Yeah. You just need to draw better, Burf. Whiff on the Zilean. Shaped stone, huh? So we have a relatively tempting homecoming here. If only because we deny the lifesteal. I don't really want to bounce anything else, though. I guess we can bounce the Dragonling. They're down to only 3 cards in hand, whereas we're not likely to run out of cards anytime soon. But again, they've also found a Zilean. Like, they still have 40 cards in their deck because they have the benefit of having found a Zilean. And we can't seem to buy. Hey, we found a Zilean. Let's go. Look out. We'll take the sands for now. Their Zilean's kind of getting close to leveling, which is scary.
Ionia speaks through me.
A paradox. At another time, we might have been friends.
Do we just let this go now and bank the spell mana? I think the answer is yes. Because I kind of want to draw that Palm. Palm is really good once you have a monastery going as well. At some point, we're a bit worried about Karma because we actually don't have like real removal in this list outside of the time bombs, but it's also not supposed to take us 10 years to find a time bomb. So we're basically trying to do the exact same thing that they were looking to do. That's a shame. That's a shame. Before this blows up, we actually kind of want to bounce this Zilean. All right, we're gonna be super greedy. I should take the shot right now. Dang it. We hadn't seen any time bombs from them, so I was like, all right, they have to have gotten it from the top deck, and I wanted to bounce the droplet. I should have just taken the bounce right then. The greed in me clouded my judgment. I wanted to draw my own time bomb this round to get things going. All right, well, we'll save our Zilean from potential shenanigans. Because we still don't have progress yet, and we won't until next turn anyway. And we'll probably play at least one Researchers this round. I don't know, this is going to be a problem now.
You drafted.
The way is always the same.
All right. I wonder if they have any sort of healing. Healing like with the karma is actually potentially dangerous. All right, so here we're hoping to hit another time bomb so that when we play this one, we can just chain them and level our own Zilean. Hey, look, time bombs.
Another me? Where are you going? You know, I've forgotten. Couldn't have been that important.
I actually might have hosed myself on the timing there. Maybe not. We only had an expensive predict trigger. technically before we played the second one, we could have played a predict to try to set up another time bomb hit, but oh, tough decision. Think we do this because we want this to hit elusive. It just means we know we're not drawing another time bomb this next round for sure.
Walk softly, strike quickly.
Got some more damage in though, so that's nice. This time bomb should still go off, which will at least help us level the Zilean. So they're gonna have Karma and Zilean active. So this is where it's possible we just lose because of the Karma. I don't know. We'll see. This is one of those significantly scary situations.
All in my hands.
Well, they burned a deny. We don't have any way to trigger a draw right now. Losing that droplet earlier to my greed is painful, because the droplet's usually what you use to set up predict and then very inexpensively immediately draw it. Yeah, see, now they have theirs going and we don't have a way to punish it. I also don't think we want to spend much mana until after they attack at the moment. Hey, Deemba. I was not expecting to get into kind of a mirror going into this. I still don't know what the Karma does for you, but I liked the Rite of Calling. I actually think I might like it more than even the Researchers. So I might consider that, because clearly us not finding Zilean put us behind in this game. And I think that we would have pulled this out even faster. Let's do this for potential blocker.
Within.
Tick tock.
We could play a palm here, but I kind of don't want it to go to waste. We have the homecoming. We have all that. I think we just take this. Like, I don't think we really want to do anything else this turn. It's weird. The more stuff we play, the more we start flooding our hand with Zilean, and we already know we have the time bomb coming anyway, and that's the most important piece of this puzzle. And so this is what you do. You set up the predict first to make sure you're getting at least one bomb. And then you draw the bomb.
The spirit gives to those who listen.
And we're gonna go ahead and use Zilean as another predict, looking for a bomb. Hey look, we found bombs, but we also shuffle more in. We don't have a puff cap or a time bomb counter the way we have a puff cap counter, and I think that's a bit of a shame personally. They're just gonna overdraw a bunch of cards here. That's kind of comical. So we know that this draws a bomb. So they're doing this to save their karma. Now, the downside here is like we have a deny, but it clearly doesn't stop it. I mean, we could homecoming it, but that kind of just does their job for them. I think we just let this go. Thank you for the follows, folks. We try to navigate this really weird mirror that I just wasn't anticipating. So their deck is really similar. They went the Karma route and I went the Monastery route. Because like I said, Monastery is silly with this list, but I do really like the fact that they were running Right. I legit think we might make a change to include some of them. All right, so our other bomb goes off here, which clears their board. And we get the fleeting ones along with the real one. So we just keep trying to go here. We do this. They could have a deny, but we know they burned one. They do have a deny. So, is this, it's exact copies, right? If it's stunned. I don't remember if it copies the stun or not, so I guess we'll do this for science. It does. I thought so, but I just wanted to double check here. And then we just play some bombs. We get to, I guess, overwrite this at this point. We want to keep this here because we can always pull that back with Monastery. But now we have 3 real time bombs. This one will go off as well. And we just keep playing bombs. We haven't seen healing from them so far. I should have, instead of calling this deck Time Loop, we should have named this Dormammu I've Come to Bargain. This is 100% like Doctor Strange, just looping. The Fiesta Man. Welcome to the site. Thank you for that Prime sub. I appreciate it. It took us so long to find our Zilean, but Monastery Supremacy really helped us out here. I have zero qualms about that. Finally a streamer playing more than one new card. I didn't know that was an issue, Tiger. All the decks I plan on playing tonight are, for the most part, pretty new.
You see, but you cannot grasp.
I think now is the time when we... because we have one more time bomb. So now is a good time for us to actually do this and re-predict, just to see if we can see another one. We should see one here, but we just want to make sure we keep drawing into them, right? Not that it matters. We've got a bunch more coming off of our leveled Zilean next round, but if we're trying to finish them off for sure, we want this bomb to go into another bomb. Oh yeah, I'm definitely not on that wagon, Tiger. I never like race to master. I always procrastinate for like the first 2 or 3 weeks because the call for memes is too strong, and then when things settle down, I grind. The good news is that's like the hyper aggro deck that's on the ladder at the moment, and I didn't feel like that was an auto loss. Like legitimately, I think that if I just clean up my play there, we have a shot at winning that, or if we draw differently, but even more so, like if I clean up my play there. We already have a palm with the monastery. We also have the Zilean. What would we be worried about in this matchup? Kind of wanted to find maybe even something like a droplet, but let's take the scout. This is a Fiora list, so we'll have a little bit to worry about, but they're not running any... I guess we can draw this for insurance. They're not running anything that can stop our palms, and so once we get Monastery down into palm, we can basically lock Fiora out. They were waiting for me to spend mana, so they might develop her here, but... oh, they're not going to. Alright, as long as we play this smart, I'm not sure if there's a way that we can actually lose this. Unless there's something else with the Shyvana slash Shadow Isle side of things that I'm just not aware of.
Suffer my fury.
Let's do this one instead of the palm for now, because I want to be able to just replay him next round anyway. Not much we could do about that. Not much we could do about that. Let's see if we can find a time bomb.
Check for their side.
So I guess the way that we would lose is if they have enough strikes to stop all of our looping mechanisms and run us over that way.
So much to see.
That would be the biggest concern. We're gonna lose this, I think, one way or the other here. Also not sure we wanted to draw this, but I'm not sure we want to play that till we find another Zilean. Okay, so our decision now, we can save this with the palm, but then we take this damage. She's gonna level up either way. And then we have to start worrying about strafing issues. I think this is still correct. All right. There's strike number 2. Hey, Mary. It's going well, but I opened my mouth earlier and said I don't know how we can lose this. Not thinking about them having a strike answer for every other development that we wanted to make. And so we actually could be in a bit of a world of hurt. Couple of very timely strikes can certainly cause us a lot of problems. Let's see what we have coming first.
I taste purple. Yay.
I taste purple, yay.
Looks like I'm ready. Bye-bye.
Wow. So that's what the Shadow Isles is for, huh? That is not what I was expecting. All right, yeah, I think we lose this because this is just a weird build. Like I dig it. The homecoming blowout early was the problem. I probably should have just let Shyvana come through and then have played it reactive. Like the sacrificing the damage, I think, would have been significantly better for us. I think mid-range decks in general might be a bit of an issue because once they start getting to really big bodies, we don't have great ways to deal with it. I was gonna say, what are you striking there? You're killing everything anyway. All right, we really need them to not have a strike. I know that's asking for a lot at the moment, but like we just really need them to not have a strike here. All right, so Zilean levels.
Future, just as I've always known it would be.
Zilean levels, time bomb goes off. Now we just have to find some more.
My shield is yours.
But we may have hope here. I think I want to do this just to preemptively protect this. We're going to end up using this on our palm anyway.
My shield is yours. Travel before me.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that we want to do this round. I think this is it. We don't want to play this till next round because we need the strafing strike to go away. Oh, they're just gonna serve it up for us, huh?
We each hold a world within.
Haven't I been here before?
All right.
Breathe in, breathe out.
So we get a bomb. But first we want to see if we can find another bomb. Dormammu! I have come to bargain. Oh. Sure. So we know this one's gonna draw the bomb. Oh, they had chain vests, huh? 3. Oh, I'm not even angry. I'm just impressed. Sure. I think deny is what we want here.
I've been practicing, and it's not perfect. But look,
If your prediction is correct, we have much to look forward to.
Like that's an impressive dedication to your board. Like that's tech I didn't even know was gonna be necessary. So the deny helps us back up for this eventual homecoming play because that's gonna be the way we try to save this.
Steps ahead.
Interesting. See if we can put a bomb on top. No, but the Faith Folk will be potentially nice.
Try me.
So we have this, and we can take another shot at. I guess we'll say a droplet here. I have the sharp sight. Not super keen on obviously like giving her a killer or whatever. Or two. But I also really wanted to play these time bombs. And so if they don't have another buff in hand, the time bombs just kill her anyway. Like, she's leveled, but as long as we kill that one, I think I'm fine. At some point we need to use Homecoming on the rest of this board. Yeah, I think I'm alright with this. You look away and you hear, my opponent played not one, not two, but 3 chain vests on the units that were on the board after I had started time bombing them. So like they were just sitting on 3 chain vests in hand. It's just not the sort of thing you expect from your opponent. Doing a great job of making me not be able to kill their board.
This will be quick.
Right? That is love for your units. You are not wrong. I mean, this is super greedy, but if they want to use a strike on my little droplet, they can use a strike on my little droplet. Alright, so we start with Zilean because we want him to see these other time bombs.
Time is winding.
I'm actually okay with taking a Sands. The strike was important for them because it got rid of our concussive palm looping. But right now we're just death by 1,000 paper cuts is our game plan. So here, as long as we stay at our 4 mana, I feel comfortable, which is why we're going this route. Getting a couple up gives us some flexibility with this Homecoming. Also gives us a bunch of fleeting. Oh, we just find another palm. That's nice. So we start with this. We know they have the strafe. Judgment? Wow, judgment, huh? I think we're gonna lose that Zilean, gang. And not get to play a lot of these amazing fleeting units.
I'm sorry to say, time isn't really an illusion.
That was not a card I was expecting, but then again, I should have, just because this deck has been very surprising throughout. I don't want to risk this. This is really important for us to keep. With oh. Yeah, I just, for some reason, I thought that when we stunned that judgment, they were going to have like another combat. Like they had been clearly planning that for some time. See if we can put a time bomb on top so we can chain these. like you do. Withering Whale. Those two Withering Whales have actually been frustrating. All right. They didn't have the single combat last round. We're gonna get so many time bombs here. I love it.
The future isn't what it used to be.
Honor guide me.
So I think we actually lose our Zilean this round. And there's not much we can do about it.
Just a moment.
So like if we do this, we're still technically alive, and Zilean's still technically alive. I say technically a bunch because they have this strafing strike. Hey, Cosmic. I was lurking in your stream a little bit earlier. Hopefully things went well. Sharp sight, huh? I think we still have to let this go, but we kind of want to force this out. So let's do this. Man, do we just want to draw more time bombs, or hold on, we're at 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know that we're going to be able to push for lethal anytime soon at the rate that we're currently going. Which means I think we want this to be what we draw here. All right, unfortunate, but not much we could really do to avoid that. We are at the moment really worried about what? Rally effects. So I can play these 3 fleeting time bombs to get all of the value I can while I can, or I can go with one more body plus the palm to theoretically stop a rally death. So like that's the question, right? Which one? Let's just not die to rally, I guess.
We can always rely on you to keep us
I
safe.
probably should have taken the tasty there. All right, so they gain a ton of health. is also you know, it's so funny that like I'm going to end up losing this because of 3 chain vests. I mean, it's like not funny, but it's kind of really funny that I'm gonna lose this game to 3 chain vests. I mean, they are, Tiger, but like I can't remember the last time I saw somebody run the full 3. Like, I'm just in awe at the moment. There we go. I was like, I need another body here pretty desperately. I mean, we need to kill this Shyvana too, but... All right, now we want the tasty for sure. As cute as the time bombs are with these vests. Ugh. Sounds like they made the right tech choices. Maybe. I mean, the chain vests are going to come up huge against the Sump folks. Ew. Why'd it have to be Shyvana? So the issue with Shyvana is the minute they declare an attack, they also have the strafe. So I will never gain the health from this. I could just palm that to stop it, but then the challenger from this could eat my palm unit and then I lose my cycling. But if they don't have a buff, I guess that would at least kill it. Yeah, maybe that actually is correct. This is a risk, but I think this is probably the best risk. Yeah, I mean, it's...
Your attack is obvious.
It's really good tech choices. Yeah, this sucks.
I taste purple. Yay.
I actually think this is better. That's not a good sign. The last time they did that, they played a huge strike.
Oh, but let me have a look here. A new journey.
Time for a leap of faith.
So much to see.
Maybe we get lucky and they were just playing that defensively, hoping to offset any health gain that I might have had. Maybe. How am I still in this game? What round is this? There's got to be a way to tell. Round 20.
If I'm forgotten, then no.
Hey, I was taking a risk, but that palm is huge.
What are you?
I think I'm supposed to just let this go since I've got 2 more damage coming from time bombs. But I also feel like if we do this, we force them to use the strafe as well. And then they have to decide whether they care more about killing my gaining life or getting rid of my elusive. Yeah, I figured that'd be the choice. Hey, don't judge me for my long games, Tiger, all right? If they hadn't played 3 chain vests, this game wouldn't have been this long, okay? It's not my fault, I swear. See if we can set up our draw for next round. That looks good. So we do this because it's another predict and it gives us the chance to maybe hit this instant trigger with another time bomb. Plus we're just shuffling more in. I mean, we've been through so many of them at this point. This was a heck of a game. 3 chain vests. 3 chain vests. Wow. Well, of course. That game took so long, I'm gonna look like Zilean.